welcome to Fresh Death Comics, the podcast. This is part 2 of our summer adventure. In this episode, we're going to continue our adventures through Terrificon. And also, we do a little interview with Bing Bang and talk about Simon Kudranski's Blood Commandments. All on this episode, so stay tuned. I had a flash drive on me.
Yeah.
It was in the, it was sitting in the cup holder. And it had all, because I was running out of space, so I was like, oh, I'll just have everything on the flash drive. I can edit all the videos and how I want to do it. That got destroyed. I don't know where that is.
Yeah, well.
I searched, so all of our Bing Bang content is gone. The only thing we have is we were at the convention and we recorded a little bit because we were talking about Simon Kudranski's Blood Commandments.
Yes.
So we did do that at the Bing Bang convention. We talked a little bit about it, which is exciting because there's a BazingaCon happening, which I'm hoping getting this episode out before it happens this Sunday. So that's the goal. This episode's getting out before Sunday.
Yes.
Because I said it. This is what we were talking about at the Bing Bang convention. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fresh Death Comics. We are live inside of the American Legion.
We are. And why are we here, B. Luke?
We're here for the Bing Bang Comic and Toy Show.
I know, the very first, hopefully the first of many, put on by Fat Cat Comics. Don't know how we got a table here. We must know the owner, the manager of the business.
With Fat Cat Comics.
Yeah.
Hooked us up with the table. We'll be here all day
Set up
long.
the table. And this Toy Con is already pretty well underway. We've got people rolling in already. It is freshly 11:03. We have so many tables here, so many guests, so many vendors. This is really a great intro con if you've never been to a Comic-Con before. This is small, low-key, but the people are here. The turnout is already kind of crazy, B. Luke.
Yeah, I saw the number change to the opening time, and it's just a mess.
It's a swarm. It's a swarm at this point, which is awesome. I mean, people knocking down the doors for an event, fantastic. And especially for a first-time event, we're already seeing quite a crowd. Some people are still setting up. We got people doing business here already. Money is changing hands. It's like 3 minutes into this already, which is great to see. Great to see at a great event here.
Yeah, it is fantastic. Everybody's here. We're gonna do some Power Ranger themed stuff, so stay tuned.
Yes, we're gonna shoot some videos today. We're gonna get a couple of interviews with some people, some vendors, some friends.
I saw Ethan already.
We already saw Ethan. We already talked to Ethan. We've already said hi.
Oh no, I forgot to bring the comics. I just now remembered.
Well,
sucks to suck.
Sucks to suck, I guess.
That's what happens when you're
This is what happens when you're in a hurry.
I had them out too.
I know you did. We went through. We pulled out things already. Nicole made a sale. Nicole made a sale. Nicole made a sale. And we're happy that she's here. And we're happy that she's here. And we're happy that she made a sale. Yay!
I thought about the perfect one Nicole could make me, and I would have to buy it.
What?
I thought about the perfect. So Nicole is here at our booth. We first-time vendor, brand new to the world of comics.
Yes.
Her partner, Brian Jones, has been on our show multiple times.
Yes.
So.
I know, we saw you make a sale. No, you're fine. I know we saw you made a sale. I made a song, yay. Yay, cheers. Yay, yay. There's so much packed into one relatively medium-sized room. Like, it's packed to the brim, but not overwhelming, which is great. So who else is here today, B. Luke?
All right, we have Ethan Young. He's here. He does, he's been writing comics for years. He does tales. He does, right now he's been doing covers. He does a cover of Spider-Boy, Spider-Man.
That cover that we pulled out and then promptly left at home.
I know, it's a good place for it at home, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the artist is here right now to be able to sign it or anything.
Yeah, it's not like I could get him to sign it.
Yeah, I mean,
and the amount it's going to take to go home and get it, we hit every single light on the way here.
Oh yeah, we were kind of late setting up, but I mean, luckily, we didn't have boxes and boxes of books to bring in. We didn't have, coming here and promoting our podcast. Definitely lightened up the equipment load, I will say. So that was pretty great. It's still quite humid out today. It thunderstormed today. I know. Nicole just said, I wish we had a fan. I wish we had personal little fans also. The air conditioning is on, but, it's still sticky. It's sticky, but you know what? It is cool in here. So you guys can still come on down to Bing Bang Comic and Toy. The event here today, so many stuff happening. People are in costume. I wasn't expecting people in costumes today. We should do like a best comic.
So far, I have seen Spider-Gwen.
Seen some Spider-Gwen. I believe I've seen...
Someone had a One Piece shirt on, and I was like...
Oh, yeah, I know. We're going to be friends with them later. I've already decided.
No, I don't want to be friends with him until we finish the series, because Wibby's ahead of us, and he's like...
That's going to be like the second question. Hey, you like One Piece? We're at this point. We just finished Water 7.
We are just about done with the Bing Bang Comic and Toys show. It has been a day.
It has been a day. It has gone by so fast because there's been so much to do, so many people here, so many different vendors.
We'll have separate videos of different things. We talked to David Ebeloff.
We did.
About the cabinet and what's next for that.
Yes.
It was fun talking to Ethan and how he got into Marvel.
We love Ethan.
So it's really, we have a whole bunch of videos planned that we're going to put out here, but we just thought we'd jump into the podcast since we're live here and just do a live show.
Yeah, it's starting to wrap up here. There's probably only about 25 minutes left of the con.
If there was any artist here that you wish was here, who would it be?
There's one that I think both of us are big fans of.
Does it rhyme with Ryman Kudranski?
Yes, it's Simon Kudranski. No, he would have been... I just want him at any con just because I want to meet him and tell him how awesome he is.
Yeah, the artwork is amazing because we have to talk about his creator-owned book, Blood Commandment, which we haven't had a chance to talk about.
No, we haven't had a chance to.
Because you got caught up on books and getting caught up, and I was like, Amy, I know this is just a mini-series. Here's his mini-series. Read Blood Commandments.
Yeah.
And let me know what you think, because...
You gave me zero context going into it, and that was the best way to go into this book.
Because Blood Commandments is about vampires, and it just comes into be of a vampire story. You don't realize it is until you're in it.
Yeah, because I want to say, now I haven't looked at the book in a couple of months at this point, but I want to say you don't really find out that it's vampires until the end of at least issue 1.
Now, when I first, if we would have done about issue 1, I thought it was demons. I thought it was all spiritual based because it had this ghostly kind of feeling to it.
Yeah.
So Blood Commandment starts out as this son and father who live in the woods, and they're just real farm people. They stay on the land. They just...
Yeah, they're very secluded.
Yeah, they only come out during the night.
His son doesn't even go to school.
Yeah, it's all homeschooled. So this kid knows nothing of this world, just what his father's told him. And then all of a sudden there's we meet this other character, and he's like, I'm coming for them.
Yeah.
And it just reaches at this evil, evil dude.
Yes.
Wants the father back in his covenant.
Right, because his father is a vampire. That's why they've been hiding.
So it's just this whole adventure and what it means to be a vampire and this whole moral conundrum. It really makes you think about, even though you're bit and maybe turned into a monster, let's say a werewolf bit me or any kind of biting, you're stuck in a situation where you have to accept it.
Well, it's either that or, now that you said vampire or werewolf, all I'm thinking about is a werewolf in London, American Werewolf in London, where he's just like, kill yourself, David.
Yeah, that's the only choice. So he's just accepting for what he is. He goes, I know I have to do this. I don't want to do this. And this is how we're just going to accept it. And I think it's kind of poetic in a way of how real life works. We're all put in the situations where maybe we don't like what we're in or the people we're with. And we're like, I hate the situation I'm in, but I just have to grin and bear it because this is life.
And the only way out is through.
Really cool way to look at the book, as you're not stuck with whatever society, whatever someone's told you are.
Yes.
I think that's a cool concept. Like, you could take that he's a vampire and replace it with anything.
Yeah.
And I think it works. Like, people who are like Amish, you could exclude yourself and like the way you were brought up, like me.
Yeah.
Super uber Christian.
Yep.
Like, that was kind of its own little cult. So I just think it's interesting.
Yeah, so I love this book. I'll be honest, I read this when I was working at a job that I'm no longer at, so I think I can say this now. I read it at work. I think it was maybe on one of those holidays that, like maybe Martin Luther King Day, something like that, where there weren't a lot of people around, and I had like a couple hours where I could just take a look and look through and actually like read comics because no one was around. I didn't need to do it, Nobody was spying on me. I didn't need to look busy.
It's not like the news was happening on that day because it's a holiday.
I mean, there really wasn't much happening, let's be real. Had no idea what I was getting myself into. The whole father-son dynamic was fantastic and very, definitely told through the eyes of his son, which was the best way to go through this, honestly. Because as his son, he had no idea what was going on. He didn't know what his father had, pledged his loyalty to or whatever.
But growing up in a Christian household, it's kind of what it was. My dad is the authority. My dad is, whatever he says goes. Like, he is the guy who says it. So it's just, I just really like Blood Commandment in the way of, like, you're under this rule, like, your father's always right. You have to listen to him.
You must obey.
You must obey.
No
And
questioning.
when you follow your life like that, maybe sometimes that's why you get lost. Like, maybe that's why I don't know things. Because I was just like, that's the way it is.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we can get really into it. I mean, personally, I think there's definitely for you a lack of knowledge of the world. But it's not dissimilar at all to what his son was going through. And he was trying to he's in that coming of age where he's trying to figure out who he is, what he wants to be, what kind of life he wants. And, he just has more questions than any answers. He just wants to know what's going on. And his father is not telling him. And he's kept this deep, dark secret that he's been this vampire this whole time. And now he is dealing with a covenant, or the leader of the covenant that is coming after him.
It's just interesting the way he was raised. Like, it doesn't tell us, but he was a very strict. Like, I'm wondering if he got beat with the belt. Like, there's some clear,
I'm sure he did.
Like,
that was no
I
question
feel like the
for me.
childhood he grew up with was very mind strict. That because he was a religious guy too.
Yes.
Like, he followed the Bible. The Bible is law.
Yes.
And I just think the way that he constructed this family dynamic and then introduced vampires to it is just, it's almost like a religious family and the devil was, like, you find out your dad was secretly working for the devil.
Right? Yeah, that he's just...
Like, how do you raise up your whole life going, my dad's a demon, but I'm not because he taught me the ways of God. It's huge.
It is. It's kind of a mind-bending book in that way. It's very much dealing with ethics and faith, and then just that relationship between father and son is just something that's so nuanced. And for him to capture it in a vampire story,
I mean,
leave
would
it
you
to
expect
Simon.
it? Yeah, leave it to Simon. So I just love the book. If you ever read Blood Commandment, please pick it up.
I know part of me wants to spoil the ending,
You can't.
but I
We're
don't
not.
want to spoil the ending. Just trust us. It was really good, guys. If you like suspense, it was just fantastic. It was such a good book, and this has reinvigorated my love of Simon. I think I'm excited to see what else he's doing. He is now doing another arc of something epic, which is great. I personally am super behind on that. But
plus, he's been doing the Spawn universe. He's been doing
yes,
Misery
he's been doing
and Sam and
Misery.
Twitch.
We mentioned this on the show. So Simon Kudranski has really been a busy guy. And we've also been trying to get him, maybe suggest him for Terrificon next year. Or, I don't know, maybe he'd come out and do Big Bang Toy Con maybe one day.
Yeah, he wants to come to Binghamton. We could hook him up.
I mean, we'll just tag him. It'll be fine. He'll know. We'll send him a message.
So, all right, guys, looks like the Bing Bang's wrapping up. So we will catch you guys later.
Why? Why does Trump keep referring to Hannibal Lecter like he was a real goddamn person. Why? He was not a real person.
The late great
Hannibal Lecter. Fictional character. Fictional. Hannibal the Cannibal, real person.
Now, here's the thing. Okay, if you really want to talk about this, we can start us over. But, like, I haven't seen all of the Silence of the Lambs, so I don't know if he's dead or not. So I'll be honest with you. I think Trump is kind of spoiling the movie, and that's kind of why I don't want to vote for him, because it's kind of a dick move. Because Anthony Hopkins is still alive.
He is.
Like, can't he do another Silence of the Lambs?
No, because there's only the 4 books.
See, I guess I should know more about the Silence of the Lambs, because, like, we're living in a world where there's prequels and sequels of things that shouldn't exist, like aliens.
I'm going to bust your brain.
Oh, don't do it.
The Hannibal series is technically a prequel.
To what? Red Dragon?
No, it's mostly about it's a prequel to Red Dragon.
Yeah, I do that.
Okay.
I mean, like, unless he dies at the end of one of them and then it can't continue, but, like, I feel like we live in a world where Jigsaw comes back alive and does now games. Why can't, like, Anthony Hopkins come back alive? He's not dead. Like, that'd be so awesome to see, like, a John Wick version of Anthony Hopkins. Hello, Clarice. Yeah, and he kicks, like, through the glass. He bites her neck.
That's the real reason why Jodie Foster left. Hannibal Lecter was going to turn into a fucking action movie star.
He's the hero of the movies. Right? Because he's the guy who finds Buffalo Bill. He's the hero.
I need to rewatch these. Although it's going to be weird if we watch them in the way they're supposed to be watched. In chronological order.
That's the way I've been begging for. Because Silence of the Lambs is last, right?
It's the second.
Oh, so there's another one afterwards. So I guess that's...
There's 2 afterwards.
Oh, I can't... Okay.
Yeah.
I've only seen
there's 4
Silence
in
of the
total.
Lambs, and I know
So
there's a
you've-
TV show.
Correct.
I know about Red Dragon,
Yes.
because I thought it was about a dragon, and I was excited.
And
It turns out it's not about a dragon.
No.
No, it's not. There is no dragon. There is no dragon. It's flying around like some mythical beast.
All right. It's not like Game of Thrones.
Yes, that is what I was expecting.
Okay.
Not like a metaphor of a dragon.
No.
Not for like a predator.
Talk
creature.
about a painting.
Oh, it's a painting?
Yeah.
Here I thought they were being real clever and cryptic of like, he's a secret dragon.
Well-
he's not like Puff.
Don't worry when we start watching Hannibal, because it is my birthday month, and guess what? After meeting Dan Fogler multiple times, we finally need to watch him in this series.
So Sunday Terrificons, we get there. I think Sunday was a real fun day.
Sunday was a real fun day. It just started off as a shit show.
It was so
It was
wild because like they had another convention area. Like they had another area for conventions.
correct, and it
But
was
like
literally
nobody knew.
Yeah, it was
And we
right
asked the
off.
security guard. We
And
said,
they
"Where is it?" And they said, "We don't know,
No.
but you can't be in here." And then I pointed to the map and said, "Where is this?" And they said, "That's where you are." And I said, "That's where this says we should be. So explain that to me." And she said, "Sir, you better not cop an attitude with me." And I said, "I'm going to go to where I'm supposed to go because I want to meet Eric Vale."
Yes,
And it turns out I was right the whole time.
you
And
were
it
right
was-
the whole time. We ran around the entire room that we were supposed to go
Yeah, because
in, like twice, I think.
we didn't know. There was no
Nobody
signs.
knew. There was no
And we
sign.
found this other couple, like...
Oh
they-
yeah, this
they-
mom and her 2 kids. This mom and her 2 kids. She was great. I wanted to be like, we're friends now, but you
I mean,
know,
I airdropped her, so I don't know if you can get
I don't
something from
know.
that. I don't know.
yeah, I
We
don't know.
might have her phone number. We can do. I invited her to the Twin Tiers Comic Con because that's happening soon. That they've got a stellar lineup.
Well,
so
wait, let's
far.
finish talking about this Comic Con before we start talking about another Comic Con.
All right. So
So
yes.
we went to the Eric Vale panel, we made friends, and we're like, cool. You know, we finally figure out we're in the right place. All right, Cool, we've got 10 minutes to spare. So we're
First
chatting
time this convention that we're arrive
early. And we're chatting. We're making friends. We're talking about how excited we are. We're talking about how excited we are to meet Eric Vale.
There was a guy who was dressed up. I think he was dressed up as oh, what's his name from Naruto?
Yeah.
The Jackie Chan kind of
Yeah.
character. He was wearing just all green. He like knew all like I have a concussion, so I forgot some of Eric Vale's things he did, and it's just I totally did not know that he did My Hero Academia. That he was the bad guy with the face.
Yep, with all the hands.
Yeah. And it just blew my mind.
Yes.
So I was like, oh my goodness. So I was so excited.
Yes.
And we waited.
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 And 30 minutes go by and we're like, is he okay? Like, we saw him around, we saw him at his table the whole weekend, so we know he made it to the con.
And we asked, and the Boy Scouts were like, their job is to direct, like
help guide us,
guide the stars to the panels. And then we asked the Boy Scouts, and the Boy Scouts were like, we don't know where he is.
and
we're like, is he dead? Like, what? Is something wrong? Like, all I could think of is like, poor guy. Like, what if this is like a Galaxy Quest kind of thing, and the guy really thinks he's Trunks?
Wow, what a life.
Or really thinks that he's Sanji.
Yeah.
Like, hello, Sanji. I recognize your voice. Come here. And he's stuck, like, being part of the real pirates.
He kicks someone and he just goes, souffle!
Like, kind of like that SpongeBob episode they did of the actors in real life.
Yes.
Like, that's all I'm picturing for this one world piece, like a Galaxy Quest. Like, they're just like, here, we're facing pirates. We have to go up this waterfall. Will you help us? And they're like, we don't. It was a cartoon, man. And Colleen can be like, I played a little boy. I'm a woman.
I know.
Usopp can be like, I cannot say any of my lines. That may be a little bit racist.
Yeah.
Because he's supposed to be black.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, fun fact. So it's Terrificon. So Eric Vale finally shows up. I don't even know where he comes
was
from. He just like buses in.
He was like 35 minutes late. I think it was like 40 minutes late. But we were like, we don't care.
And so he just answered a couple of questions. We asked a couple of questions.
Yes.
And then we're like, deuce, and he left.
Well, no, not before I asked my question.
Oh, what question was that?
I asked him about him being a head writer of One Piece as the show started. Because if you pay attention to the credits, the early seasons, he is the head writer of the show as well as the voice of Sanji. So he started, and then I got to ask him about that process. He started adapting the show before really Sanji even came across first. And he originally auditioned for Zoro.
Which would have been kind of cool to see. Like, if there was more time, I wish we could have probed him on that.
I know.
Like, can you give us what Zoro would have sounded like to you?
That would have been great.
Like to hear what his version of Zoro, because I would like to compare the two. Because sometimes, like, maybe like because Christopher Sabat does the voice, like you hear his and you go, no, that's Zoro in my mind. Like, and maybe his was just a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
It's just interesting because the voice actors are so good at mimicking, and if someone's telling you where they want your pitch to be, like, we need you to sound like a young boy who's excited to find treasure.
Yeah.
You have that direction, and then you go with what you feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's, that's my next question for him. I'm asking him that.
I know. It's almost like we should have asked him that at the table when we met him afterwards.
We were at the table, but it was a weird experience because, like, the lines, no one knew where the stands.
Oh, yeah.
And then this guy who was dressed up as Wario
oh, I forgot about that.
was, like, talking to me.
He was like, yeah, oh, and full, like he was committed. He was committed to being Mario, by the way. So he's talking like this the entire time, which was fun, I guess. But he was telling us that they were going to do real life Mario Kart, which I was like, that's cool. But you're also assuming I'm from here or I'm going to be
I
here
know,
another
and
weekend.
I was trying to tell him like I don't
we're
live here, bro.
we're
And he's
not
like,
from
you
here.
you can come. Everybody's invited. And I
No,
was
you
like,
don't understand. We don't live in this state.
part of me. So there's a whole bullying rules and conducts that's kind of gotten into the public light. I kind of feel like that might be because me and Hans, because at Terrificon, or not Terrificon, at Chicago Comic Con, we made someone cry once.
Oh boy.
They were dressed as Doctor Who, and we were like, Doctor Who? And they're like, Doctor Who? We're like, Doctor Who? We don't know who you're talking about. You're not making any sense. Your costume's stupid. Who are you supposed to be? And they're like, Doctor Who? And we're like, who? And they're like, and they got really upset and they left the line. And then someone came up later and talked to us and we're like, we were just joking. Like, they were dressed up as Doctor Who. We want to know who's who. Like, who's on first? You ever watch Joe and Hardy? And they're like, yeah. I was like, yeah, dress up Doctor Who. We said who? Like, who is Doctor Who? And the security guard laughed. And so,
That's it. The security guard laughed. Case dismissed.
kind of, and that was it. And
No,
but
I
ever
stand
since
behind
then-
this bit. I mean, there is a chance you could have sounded like a complete asshole when you did this, but
Oh,
if
when
it
Hans
was
did it, he did. Like, he was kind of an asshole. It wasn't like a joke. He was just like, Doctor Who, your costume's dumb.
oh, see if you did it, if you both did it the way that you like, what do you mean? Like,
I did that.
see that I think is more fun.
So it was like a Laurel and Hardy bit
Yeah.
because I was like, I don't know who's the Doctor
Hans
Who.
is your straight man. You're the one that's being eccentric. Wow, never
Exactly.
would have thought.
So, but after that year, all of a sudden, like the first post of the new year was like there are new bullying guidelines, like no joking, even like no joking harassment. Like even your jokes may seem like so. If you look at like Terrificons, if you look at their things, is like no harassment and bullying will be accepted of any kind. And I've been very scared to pull my Doctor Who line on people.
Which is hilarious because Sylvester McCoy was there, who was Doctor Who.
I know, and I didn't see anybody dressed up as Doctor Who. Like,
I saw one guy.
yeah, when I first was doing Comic Cons, like, I don't know. Now at this time, it's been more than a decade of doing Comic Cons. Like when Matt Smith was the when David Tennant was the Doctor. That's what everybody was dressed up as Comic Con.
Yep.
Was their version. So everybody in Comic Con had the stupid bow tie and the suspenders
And the
the
jacket.
pants. It kind of looked like Steve Urkel, except they had a little Harry Potter wand. That's why I didn't watch Doctor Who, is because like everybody was Doctor Who, and I refuse to like things that other people like. That's why like I don't watch things. Like, you should watch this. It's real good. I'm like, no.
Hi. We are the same person.
So that, and then he costume switched in front of us.
Did he?
Yeah, he dressed like he was Mario, and then he dressed up as like something else, and I can't remember what it was. And I was
I
like,
don't know.
what is going on?
I stopped paying
How
attention to
did
that
I-
man
how
after a
did I
period
get
of
here?
time. Yeah.
So we met Eric Vale. It was great. He was a nice
Yes.
guy. What else did we do Sunday?
Excuse you. Brian O'Halloran.
Yeah, and then we met Brian O'Halloran because
Yeah.
I love Clerks. Clerks is like my go-to movie. Like every year, I got to do a View Askew movie universe.
Yep.
Which now that it's autumn for me, it's time for me to do my View Askew. Like this is like I'm like it's View Askew universe time. Snoozy bitches. Because it just feels like it's this time.
Yeah.
Even though technically it's closer to Easter, because that's when Mallrats takes place. So,
Eh.
tomato, tomato. But anyway, he was super nice. Turns out he's a clergyman, and he offered to marry
Well,
us.
I don't think he's a clergyman, but he's an officiant.
Yeah, the clergy.
Not the same thing. Not the same thing.
Not the same thing.
No.
He can legally marry us.
Yes.
So whatever that is called, but he's not a pastor. He's just one of those guys who has a degree, a license.
There you go. Close enough.
So whatever that is. So this is like, I'm like, this is awesome. Like this is
going to be a thing. I'm pretty sure you walked away and you were like, we're having a wedding because of Brian O'Halloran.
Yeah, I was kind of like, because you were like, oh, should we have a wedding? Maybe like, just go to Vegas and just like, elope or something. Like, I don't want something big, something crazy. And not Brian O'Halloran's involved. I'm like, yeah, we're going all out now.
Yep.
So.
Correct.
And he's going to say, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
This is what I picture. Like, he's not in sight before the ceremony starts. It's just you. We do our whole thing, blah, blah, blah. And then he walks out, opens up his little notebook things, and he goes, I'm sorry I'm late. I wasn't even supposed to be here today. And then he starts to marry us. That's what I picture.
I mean, sure.
And then, like, 10 people are going to get it, and everybody else are going to go, what?
We're gonna get the real fans out real
fast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not going to be from my side of the family. They're going to be like, we don't understand. And then there's going to be a movie idol. And, like, we're just going to have a movie statue.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's just going to freak out.
Yes.
Like, I even talked about having my parents at the wedding. Like, that's going to be a whole thing.
That is going to be a whole thing.
So, yeah, my mom, I didn't tell my mom this time around.
Oh, yeah, that was also my favorite part. So he, the whole thing happens, and we're like, oh, we're like 2 hours away from the Airbnb. We should probably get going again because it's dark. It's starting to get dark. When you finally get cell phone reception again, you sent the picture of, hey, guys, I did a thing, and I'm also part of the group text. And, it wasn't until like 3 or 4 messages down and a couple messages before your mom was just like, oh, what a nice picture. And then Rocky goes, congratulations, you guys, on getting engaged. And your mom just goes, what? You're engaged? Everybody got the same picture.
But, like, everybody knew except for my mom, I realized, because I don't know. Because of our past history and stuff, I don't know. I know she's not going to like the wedding, so I'm just like, why bother?
Oh, yeah, she's going to hate it.
Like, if I could, I don't even want to get into it, but like the fact that there's going to be a gay in the wedding.
Oh my God, please rephrase that immediately.
No, that's the phrasing because that is what we're working with here.
I don't like it.
That's why
I know.
we have to get married this way because we're going to get married the way we want to get married. We're going to have who we want to have married with us.
Yeah.
Standing with us.
Yes.
So,
Is there going to be a bride's man on my side? Probably. Spoiler alert for some of you.
So, exactly. And I'm like, if they're not, I don't feel like arguing and having this fight.
No.
So, and I know they're like, how, like, my phrasing was very insensitive and rude.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can understand why that's rude, you can understand what I'm dealing with. And there's no way to, like,
curb that.
curve that. Like you can't like where start where. Like how many times have you been over at the at the house and my dad tells you about the gay propaganda of like how there has to there's there
The gay agenda.
yeah, the gay agenda that every show when we were little introduced like a gay character so people get comfortable to understand the sins of Sodom and Gomorrah and then yada yada yada. Yeah, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
You brought it up.
I know. We're gonna skip over this part. So yeah, so Brian O'Halloran said he's gonna marry us. So I'm super excited. Like that kind of made me go like, oh my goodness, this is real.
Yes.
So I,
On top of the fact that he's an East Coast boy.
yeah, I didn't know that he was up here on the East Coast. Like,
Yeah.
I always assume like all of the View Askew boys live in Red Bank,
Yeah.
except for Jay. I know he lives in California with Kevin.
Yeah.
But like when Kevin comes to the Red Bank, like everyone's just from the neighborhood just comes out
Yeah. I was surprised about that too.
because I know like he auditioned for the role,
Yeah.
so he was around.
Correct.
So that was one of my high points. He was super cool to talk to. Really liked him.
Nice guy.
So nice.
And then we met Stephanie, and then I fainted from delight because that was. After we met Stephanie. I was like that. I mean, how can you top that? We started with Keanu Reeves, ended with Brian O'Halloran, and I finally got to meet Stephanie Phillips and gush about how much I love her. And then took really cool pictures with her.
So it's exciting. So it was just because comic books bring me a lot of joy. Like when life sucks, like you read things and whether there's a topic about everything you want to talk about in comics. Someone has covered it. So sometimes, like we've talked about like drug addictions. Donnie Cates did that. If you want to talk about demon possessions, many of the books have done that. Because I know we think of comic books as just Spider-Man and the Avengers, but there's a lot of like, if you can understand why Harrison Ford, or if you can understand why Bill Murray will star in a Marvel movie for a paycheck or another Ghostbusters for a paycheck, but then go do a super indie movie, then you can understand comic books.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is. They write some really cool Spider-Man stories, and you know what? They're awesome and they're fun. And then they have their own pet project they use with that money to tell the story they want to tell.
Yeah.
Because Kyle Higgins is a perfect example. He wrote Power Rangers. He wrote some of the best Power Ranger stories that's probably ever going to be written about Power Rangers. Let's be honest. And then after he left, he created the Radiant Black universe. Like he used that money to like create something he liked. So it's like Power Rangers, but like none of the rules of Power Rangers. It's
his own. It's his
own
his
little
own
world.
playground.
And I think when you can find that chemistry in both things, like Simon Kudranski, seeing him do the Spawn stuff, and then seeing like his influence in his own books and what he chooses to do, like it's very interesting. Like he draws very Todd McFarlane-y.
Yeah.
Like he feels like it's part of the universe. It doesn't feel like. But then you read his books, and you're just like, man, that man looks real. He's gonna touch me and slap me. He's a vampire.
Yeah.
So I just love it. It's just like seeing Scott Snyder's work. I couldn't find him at the convention. Like there were so many people there and so many.
There were
things,
so many
like,
people and a lot of people bunched up also.
Yeah, like we didn't want to stand in line for engagement
Well,
photos because we didn't feel like
Correct. And we also, yeah, we didn't have books to sign, so we had talked about like, um, I have a run of 8 billion genies. I kind of would have liked to have gotten signed by Charles Soule, but I mean, we didn't bring the books, so if you can't bring the books, kind of can't really get it signed. So, but that
Yes,
was going to be extra money anyways. So, was it really a bad thing? like, you know,
it
uh,
is.
I I just want you to know that I had a very special Terrificon.
And I think that's what it is. Like, it's the second time I've gone to a Comic Con without comics. The first time was RoseCon.
Hmm.
When I did my trip around America, we ended up at a Comic Con, and we just went for the day,
Yeah.
and that was just fun, just being in the atmosphere and being like seeing some of the East Coast people, or sorry, seeing some of the West Coast people that I never see.
Yeah. Because they're not local and it'd be
So
too much of an
very similar
effort.
to this Terrificon. There's artists and writers who are always going to be at Terrificon because they know them. They know Mitch. They're friends. They
Hmm.
live in the area, so they're always going to be there. Versus like people who are like, oh, we're getting Keanu Reeves, so make sure you
Yeah.
get your tickets. Or they got Jim Lee, make sure you
Yeah.
get your tickets. Which I'm glad we didn't do because that whole line would have been bad.
I don't even go ahead. I just the whole idea is frustrating to me.
So you pay. It was like $100 for a signature of from Jim Lee,
It
and
was only going to be there for
it
one
was only
day.
going to be there Saturday, and they had groupings. So if you were in A, B, and C grouping, you would show up at a certain time. So the A group got there. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden the B line gets there. They haven't even started the A line yet. And by the time the C line gets there, the A line is only halfway through. So I don't know what like happened. I know Peter was in line for that line, so I didn't even get to see
We
Peter
didn't
this
even see
year,
Peter this year.
which was upsetting because I love Peter Melnick and it's so good to see him every year. And I'm upset I didn't see him, but
Yeah.
it just I got real tired and I couldn't hang out like I
Well,
used to.
I we were just two ships passing. We kept missing each other, I think.
Yeah,
But
so
it was the busiest day. It was the day with the most amount of people. And that line for Jim Lee, as you described it, A, the way just describing it gave me anxiety all over again. And B, like just so long. It's such a long line. Why?
and the line was like we had to there were panel rooms, so we were like walking between these lines and like we were walking past the same people, so like people start standing in that line because they thought it was the line for like the panel rooms because sometimes before the panels close they close off a panel
Correct.
so they can clear the room and
Yeah.
give everyone fairness of seats.
Yes.
um but like they didn't do this year because the line that Jim Lee line went down forever.
Forever. Yeah.
Like
So I'm
that.
sorry we missed you, Peter.
So I would love to hear your experience. I'm gonna figure out how we can get you on the show here. We'll talk about it. But it's just it's almost like you can nit and pick about every single thing about Terrificon,
Yeah.
but that's kind of every single Comic Con. There's
Yeah.
stuff you're not gonna like. Like my problem was mostly with their security.
Mhm.
Like I think the way they were handling things was outrageous.
Yes.
They were
I
on
agree.
power trips and but at the same time, not towards certain people.
Yeah.
So it was, but like Mitch and his crew, they were great.
Fantastic.
The
They were great.
podcasters who were there, they were great.
Mhm.
The host who were doing each
Yes,
show.
all the moderators.
Uh, but yeah, I hope we get to go to Terrificon again. I think it's going to be the 10-year anniversary of it. I think it's this year or this coming
Oh
year.
wow.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'd like to go also this year, but kind of have a lot of things to save money for right now.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, let's wrap this up because we have to get ready to do the rundown show.
Yep.
So get ready for that. And then we'll see you guys at the Bazinga Con. That's going to be this Saturday in Binghamton. Head over to our Facebook page for more information.
Yes.
It's a free convention.
It was a lot of fun in June, you guys. It really was.
It was. I had a blast. I wish we could show you the videos of it this year. Especially with the injury, I'm going to be taking it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So I think we're just going to do like a news report. May I just film Amy? And Amy will just go talk to people.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what'll happen? Stay tuned, guys.
So, yeah. Have fun, guys. We'll see you next time.